Welcome back to Design Bundle's YouTube channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Crystal. Today we are going to screen print with adhesive vinyl. So today I'm actually using a removable adhesive vinyl, but you could definitely do this with permanent. You can use patterns, whatever you have on hand, just use your scraps. So I'm going to be using a removable, like I said. I've just got a white going on here. I have a speedball screen, so you're definitely going to need a screen. You can DIY these screens. If you guys want to see me do a DIY screen, you guys definitely let me know down below. So we have some speedball screen print ink. You definitely want to make sure that it is ink that is made for screen print. You can get this stuff on Amazon. You can get an entire kit, which is what I did, and I'll have that link down below for you guys. Today I'm going to be using a Cricut mat. So this is an old one here. I like it because it has that stick on it and it's going to help hold my shirt still. So this is a great way to use your old mats because you can use them over and over again. So I'm just using an old Cricut mat for the stick. Or you could definitely use a piece of chipboard or cardboard. This is a piece of chipboard that we've used. We just slide it in the t-shirt. It's going to help get that excess ink so it don't go over to the back. So like I said, get yourself a piece of cardboard, cut an old cereal box. You just need a piece of cardboard, chipboard, something like that. Or like I said, definitely use your old Cricut mats for this. You're going to need some tape. I'm using purple tape because it's really easy to remove. It's easy on stuff. I don't want to tear up my screen. So I definitely have some tape here, purple tape. I've got a pair of scissors. I've got my Cricut spatula. You're just going to need something to get your ink out to get it on your screen, as well as a squeegee. Now I purchased the better squeegee. This is the one that came with the kit. So I thought, you know, if you're going to be purchasing the kit, I'll use the one that came with the kit so you guys can see that. So we've got all these things. I've got a weeding tool. I've already cut out my design, which we're going to weed together. And then I've got my Cricut Easy Press. We're going to press this today for between 350, 370 for around 20 seconds since we're using the Cricut Easy Press. And we want to make sure we do give medium pressure. And I'm definitely going to let it dry down first, which you can hover your Easy Press above it or let it just air dry, which is what I'm going to do. And then we'll come back and press. You definitely want to make sure you press it because that's what's going to seal it. The t-shirt I'm using today is a super cute like baseball tee. It has these really cute sleeves. I found this at Hobby Lobby on the clearance for like $3.50. So and I don't think it's all of the sizes. I think it's some of the sizes. For example, this is extra small, so probably the ones that don't sell as much. So currently, as you watch this, these are on clearance. If not, you could definitely still go snag them any point in time. Different colors from there, as well as Michael's, as well as tons of online places. You can get shirts like this. You can also do the same project on any sort of t-shirt. Okay, so we've got our t-shirt here. So let's go ahead and get everything out of the way and start weeding everything. So I've got my design here. Now what I did was I created a weeding box per se around this, so that way it's going to go on the screen and it's going to block the excess ink. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and quickly go through here and weed everything out. So you guys definitely let me know down below, have you guys tried making a screen transfer using adhesive vinyl, or for example, like the icon art stencil kit? Let me know down below. Also, if you guys want to see the icon art stencil kit, if that's something that you guys have been interested in purchasing, let me know and I will definitely show you guys. I do have one. So if you guys are interested in seeing that in action or how to use it and things like that, definitely let me know. All right, so now that we have this weeded out, hopefully you guys can kind of see that now. Like I said, I need to be mindful for videos of not choosing white because then you guys could actually see it. All right, so what we're going to do is we need to take transfer tape because now we've got to transfer this to the screen. So I'm just going to take a piece here. I'm just going to go down like a taco. We're going to take our scraper tool here. That way we can pick up our material on the transfer sheet. I always like to work from the center out. So now we are ready to remove our backing here. So I'm just going to go ahead and flip it over. All right, so hopefully you guys can see that. Now, whenever you cut this out, you definitely want to make sure that it is mirrored because we're actually going to place it this way on the screen. So that stick obviously is going to go up on the back side. So you want to mirror your design. Normally we don't do that with adhesive vinyl, but when it comes to screen printing, you definitely want to mirror. But now you guys can see that really cool design there. So what we need to do is we're going to put it on the back side of the screen. So you can definitely work in this way depending on the size that you're doing. But for me, I wanted mine a little bit wider. So I'm actually doing mine in this direction here. So one thing that you want to make sure is that you are going to go down on here nice and straight. So I'm going to kind of line this up here. Just like so. I'm going to go down like a taco, go from the center out so I don't get any air bubbles. And now what we want to do is we're going to smooth everything out. Okay, so at this point, the best way to rub this to get it to remove from the transfer is we're actually going to flip it over. And now we're going to go ahead and do it from this direction. All right, so now what we need to do, flip it back over. We're going to remove the transfer sheet, just like so. So now our screen is ready. So the only thing that we need to do now is tape it off. So I'm going to go ahead and tape all the way around here. So that way I can make sure that we're going to avoid those areas. You can definitely do this from the back. You can do it from the top, whatever you would like. So you can definitely flip this over if you want to and do it from this way. I'm just going to go ahead and do mine on this side here. All right, so I think this is good. Like I said, you just want to make sure that everywhere the screen can be seen that we don't want ink, you want to go ahead and cover that. So at this point, I could go ahead and just making sure I'm rubbing it down into that mesh a little bit from the back side. I'll flip it over, and I'm going to do that same thing. So this is going to smooth everything out and attach it to that screen. All right, there we go. Looks good. So now we have our screen. How cool is this, right? So we're ready to go with our screen. So let's go ahead and prep up our t-shirt. So we're going to set our screen aside. And like I said, I'm using my Cricut mat, but you could definitely just use a piece of cardboard. You want to put something in between to protect your shirt. So that way it doesn't go to the opposite side. And also this is going to make your t-shirt more sturdy. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this and I'm going to take my mat here and go right inside. And I may have to fuss with mine a little bit because of that stick, trying to stick with everything. So you just want to kind of have your shirt kind of up above there. And then you can see I'm starting to stick there. So I'll just smooth everything out. So it'll be just a second of smoothing. I don't want to pull anything. I don't want to make sure nothing's distorted. I want it how it would normally lay flat. I don't want any wrinkles or anything like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and line this up, trying to get it where I think it's going to be perfect. I think something about like that's going to be good. All right, so once you have this exactly where you want it to be, you'll have to make sure that you've came down because, you know, it's really easy to get way too far down on the shirt because you can't tell from this. So make sure that you're exactly where you want to be with your design, right? So everything's good. You've got your little mat underneath, protecting your t-shirt in between. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that ink. So I've got some white here, and I'm going to go ahead and get me a nice amount across the top. So you're going to go ahead and just draw yourself a nice little line across the top. So you definitely want to make sure, because you can put the remaining back. You don't want to get too crazy, but you definitely want to make sure all the way across your design. So when I go to flood this, it's going to cover this entire thing. So I'm just making sure I have enough coverage. Boom, there we go. I think we're ready to go. So once you have this, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take this squeegee and we're going to pull down. So I'm going to go ahead and get my squeegee up here at the top. I'm going to have to do it in two sides, I believe, as big as the design is. So I'm going to do one side and then the other. So I'm just going to go ahead and get it down at an angle here, putting some pressure, and we're going to pull. So you definitely want to come back. Don't go back. We're going to come back to the other side and go down. See, I'm lifting up. I've got ink, and I'm just going to go back. So we're going at that angle. So you may want to go over it just a couple of times until you are happy with it. So I'm going to go over this just one more time quickly. I'm being as fast as I can just because I feel like I want one more little layer down. Okay, just like that. So you want to make sure there's no ink remaining. You're going to go ahead and do that. I could go ahead at this point and scrape this off. I know you guys can't see, but I'm just going to scrape this back into my container here. And then we're going to go ahead and lift this. And just like that, look at how amazing that looks. So you definitely want to make sure that you guys pay attention to how far, because you do have this gap of your material of how far you're coming up. So, you know, maybe you need to come up just a little bit more. I think this was perfect. I love the way that this came out. And this is it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to let it air dry. We're going to come back as soon as it's air dried, and we're going to go ahead and press it. We're going to put a parchment paper in between, and then we are going to press. But that is how easy it is to screen print. And you could get this kit for like 20 bucks. You could definitely DIY these even cheaper, and then just buy the inks. And keep in mind, hand, these inks will last you forever. But I'm going to quickly go wash the screen out, and we'll be right back. All right, so I have let this dry down just a little bit, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to speed that process up. So I've got my Cricut Easy Press. I'm using the bigger one. You could definitely do this with your heat press. You want to hover above. I'm definitely not letting my Easy Press or heat press touch the shirt. Do not let it come in contact, because you don't want that ink to get on the bottom of your platen. But if you hover above this, you can actually let that heat kind of dry it down. So it's kind of like if you were really screen printing, they flash them, which is underneath something just like this that speeds up that dry time before they press it. So you can just kind of hover above this. You know, if your arms get tired, kind of set it down and give yourself a break, and then come back and dry it again. It really truly won't take too long of doing this to start to dry that up. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind, while you are letting this completely dry, leave your make sure that you leave your mat inside of your t-shirt. So while this is drying until it's completely dry, you definitely want to leave that mat. Now, before we press it, we definitely want to remove it. Unless you have like cardboard, you could leave it. But since it's our mat with the adhesive, we definitely want to move it before. So I'm just going to go ahead and dry this down. So she just needs a little bit longer. And then I think that we are going to be ready to press it. Now, once I think this is good and dry and it's ready to press, I'm going to go ahead and very carefully remove this from my mat underneath. So I'm just going to lift it like so, and then I'm just going to go ahead and drop that mat out. Once this is ready to press, we're going to take our Cricut mat here. I'm using the 14 by 14 today, and then I'm going to go ahead and line this up here, and we will be able to press this all at one time. Next, we're going to go ahead and take a piece of parchment paper, and we're going to press. So we're going to go ahead and press for 320 for 20 seconds. So this is going to officially completely dry those inks, as well as lock it into your t-shirt. So you can't just let it air dry. You have to do this. This is what's going to finalize and lock it in, and you definitely want medium pressure. Once you're done, you're going to remove that parchment paper. You guys can see that steam come out of there. And there you have it. Your shirt is dry. It's good to go. It can go through the wash and all of those things like you normally would with a screen print tee. Now, once again, you can do multiple layers. You can line it up to where you can actually line those up and do a multiple layer. Now, let me know down below if you guys have tried this method, if you guys are going to try this method. Also, let me know if you guys want to see the icon art stencil kit, or if you guys want to see me with multiple layers or anything like that. You guys just drop those down below, and as you guys build those, we'll build videos based upon that. So definitely let me know if you guys want to see more with the screen print stencils with your Cricut. Now, I did this with my Cricut machine, but you can definitely do this with your Silhouette. So there it is. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please hit the like button down below and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.